My name is Pat Hamilton, and this is Hamilton Handmade. So I have this great table saw router combo that I put together a few months ago. Has a great strong bar across it with a fantastic fence that I could use for both tools. Has some great heavy duty casters. That way I can roll it out and be able to move it when my wife's vehicle is not in the garage. I can lower those casters down, that way it drops right on the floor. It is just a great piece. But I have one big problem. Because this table saw is up against the wall in my garage, it turns into a catch-all for everything. That's right, even with my no dumping signs, this still turns out to be a huge dumping zone, and I'm about tired of it. So my thought is that I could build a simple shop table to go over this saw. That way I can roll it out, leave the table there, pile stuff on top of it as I please, and it doesn't cause any issues whatsoever. So today, I'm gonna show you how to build a really simple shop table.
I start out with my cut list. I'm using all recycled lumber from previous projects, so my main goal here is to utilize what I already have. I already have a piece of 1/2-inch ply that's roughly about 2 foot by 7 feet. This will be perfect for the tabletop. So I cut some 2x3 to fit the length and width of my table for the framework. I also cut 2 extra 2-foot pieces for extra support within that framework. I then cut 2x4s for the legs. A typical countertop height is about 34 to 36 inches, but I'm cutting a bit longer to accommodate for the table saw height that will live under the table. In this process, I also cut 2 2-foot pieces to serve as extra support for the legs. If I lost you somewhere in there, don't worry, this will all come together shortly. Now that my cut list is complete, it's time for assembly. I begin by laying out the long framework parallel and then connect it using the shorter pieces to create a box. I drive 2 screws into each joint.
So as I mentioned earlier, all of this is reclaimed lumber. I'm recycling just about everything. So we know we're gonna have some trouble with the pieces. For instance, this piece is warped like crazy. It is twisted all over the place. When I drove in my screw, I split it pretty bad in a couple of different places. However, it's just a table for the workshop, so I'm not too worried about it as long as the structural integrity is still there. So the easiest way that I have found to help fix a warped board is to bend it back in place. Now, oftentimes that's easier said than done. One trick that I like to use is a large C-clamp. I tighten it up and it gives me leverage to be able to twist that board in the direction that I need it. It's much easier with 2 people. However, with that extra leverage, you can do it with just 1. There we go. It's not perfect, but it'll work for what we're using it for.
It's now time to add the support within the framework. I begin by measuring the placement of each support. This doesn't need to be extremely accurate. Oftentimes I just eyeball it. The most important thing is that it's even on both sides. That way the framework stays square and it helps distribute the weight a bit. I pop 2 screws into each end of the support. Now that the framework is set, I add the top by running screws through my plywood along the edge of the framework. I suggest starting in a corner, as it makes it a bit easier to keep everything square. I flip it on its side so that I can see where the inner supports run, and then I pop a couple of screws up in that fool to attach the plywood to the support as well. I move on to the 2x4 legs, adding 2 screws to both sides of the corner that leg fits within. I repeat this for all 4 legs. Once the legs are in place, I add the 2x4 support that we previously cut. This will act as the feet for the table. Line everything up square and pop some screws in that fool.
All right, let's flip this bad boy over and see how it fits. And there we have it, folks. Another project knocked out to completion. Pretty happy with the way that this turned out. Now, are you gonna win any awards with this table? No. Is it something to put inside of your house? No. But it is a perfect table to use in the shop. I don't care if paint gets on this. I don't care if it's chipped away. I don't care if the leg's a little bit wobbly. It's for the shop, and as long as it's getting the job done, that's all that matters. This project is great if you're just starting to dip your toe into woodworking, or if you just need something quick to fix a problem that you have in your garage or your shop. It is an easy one-day project. Took me, I don't know, maybe an hour or two, and that's with videoing it and retaking multiple times. If you liked this video, or if you have a better simple design or some tricks that you want to share, please be sure to comment down below. I would love for you to like this video, share this video, and be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss another Hamilton Handmade project. My name is Pat Hamilton, and this was Hamilton Handmade.